Welcome to Yoga Zone. I'm Douglas, and this is Suzanne, another senior yoga teacher. We're here at the Grand Lido San Souci in beautiful Jamaica. In yoga, we use the principle of opposition, 2 points moving away from one another in order to get the most out of stretching. I want you to use this principle today in order to enhance your yoga practice. So let's start. Take your feet forward into Dandasana. The toes are touching, the balls of your toes are touching, and the little toes are drawn back. Already you've begun to apply that principle. You'll feel a nice stretch across the tops of your feet as you press the balls of your feet forward and the little toes back. It's as if you're stepping on the brakes in the gas pedal of your car. Bring your hands back next to your hips and see if you can drop your shoulders back and down. Feel your tailbone moving back in the opposite direction than your heels and the balls of your feet. You'll get a nice stretch in the backs of your legs. 2 points moving away from one another. I'll point out some more points. The sit bones are reaching down into the floor, and the crown of your head is moving up in the opposite direction. You'll notice that the spine gets longer. If you find that your back is rounding, then bend your knees. You can bring your sit bones right on top of one another. As you sit right on top of your sit bones, the back is reaching toward the ceiling. That's it. Using this as a lesson in opposition. Bring your feet up so that your feet are flat on the floor. And then roll down your spine slowly down. Draw your knees into your chest. Hug your knees in. And take the backs of your hands up overhead so that the backs of your hands are touching the floor and your fingers are reaching in the opposite direction. Take the soles of your feet straight up toward the ceiling. Draw your toes back. See if you can keep that principle of opposition still happening in the feet. You can let it go and then bring your mind back to it. Heels are reaching up toward the ceiling. Inhale, and as you're inhaling, send your right heel down toward the floor, away from the reach of your fingers. Inhaling and draw the leg up. Exhaling here. Inhale, let the other leg come all the way down, leading with your heel away from the reach of your fingers. And as you exhale, bring that leg all the way up. Take the other leg down, the first leg. Reach away with your fingers. Exhaling, bring that leg up. Inhaling, reaching. Exhaling, drawing that leg up. Hug your knees into your chest. And bring your feet flat on the floor. You can roll over to your side and come up to sitting. Bring your fingertips behind you so that your fingers are pointing toward your heels. Press down into the floor with your palms and then lift your hips up toward the ceiling. Now, most of the time the shoulders want to collapse in and the breastbone wants to collapse. Lift your breastbone up and move your shoulders back in opposition. Your knees are staying in a 90-degree angle. Knees are right over your ankles and the crown of your head is moving back. If you would like more of a stretch here, you can walk your feet forward into reverse plank. You can stay in four-leg table if this is enough for you. Take another breath here. If you're in reverse plank, you're feeling your toes moving away from the crown of your head. Inhale, and as you exhale, lower your sit bones down to your hands. Draw your heels in. Let your knees soften open. Open up the flesh away from your sit bones. And feel your fingertips now reaching into the sides of the floor. As you inhale, take your right arm up. And as you exhale, reach up and over to the opposite side. You want to keep that right hip down on the floor as you reach up and over with the right fingertips, using your breath. creating a nice stretch in the right side. Lengthening through your spine. Inhale, and as you inhale, come all the way up. And as you exhale, bring that arm down. Let's do the other side. Inhaling, the arm lifts. And as you exhale, reach up and over to the opposite side, looking into that palm. Get a nice stretch. Don't forget the 2 points, moving away from one another. As you inhale, come up. And as you exhale, bring your fingertips down to the floor. Bring your hands in front. Draw your shoulders back. And as you inhale, thread your torso forward onto all fours, or you can swing your legs around and come up. Bring your palms underneath your shoulders. Open your fingers so that they're wide. Open your knees so that they're hip-width apart and directly under your hips. Your toes go into the floor. As you inhale now, take your breastbone up toward the ceiling and your sit bones lift. Exhale, bring your spine into neutral, which means it's just parallel to the floor. Inhale, and as you're inhaling, step back with your right foot. You want your toes on the floor. Now already you're feeling that point of opposition, the head moving away from the reach of your heels. Inhale, and as you exhale, step the other foot back. You're in inclined plank. Usually this posture is for strengthening the body. But see if you can find some stretch here by applying the principle of opposition. Head moves forward as the heels move back. You're watching for any sagging in the body, and you're using that principle to draw 2 points away from one another so that you find stretch. Inhale, and as you exhale, press back to downward facing dog. The tailbone is lifting way up high, and you're sending your heels toward the floor. At the same time, you're lifting your sit bones toward the ceiling, pressing into the floor with your heels and lifting your sit bones at the same time. You'll get a nice, incredible stretch in the backs of your legs. Tailbone is lifting, and you're also reaching into the floor with your palms, letting your head release so that your spine opens with your breath. You want to fulfill the posture, this downward facing dog, with your breath, opening up. As you inhale, look up between your hands. And as you exhale, walk your feet to your hands so that your toes touch and your ankles are slightly apart, forward bending. Now, if you're as stretched as Suzanne, you can bring your fingertips back toward your toes. Lay your belly against your thighs and your forehead against your shins. Your heels are pressing down into the floor as your tailbone lifts. If you're not as stretched as that, you can bring your hands to your shins and lift your tailbone at the same time. As you inhale, rise to your fingertips, and as you exhale, fold all the way down. Let's come back with your right foot. Just step back. Feel the outer rim of your foot pressed into the floor. All 5 toes pressed into the floor as you feel the inner arch lifting. Your front knee comes right over your ankle so that you feel those 2 points moving away from one another, opening and softening the inner thighs open. Bring your hands to your hips, feeling the crease line in your hips absolutely level on both sides. Now watch out, is your tailbone moving too far back, or is it moving too far forward? See if you can find a nice middle ground there as the tailbone drops directly down toward the floor. And in opposition to that, the crown of your head is moving up toward your ceiling. Soften your shoulders down as you turn your torso to the side, and then raise your arms up as you feel your shoulders dropping down. Fingers are reaching forward. The front fingers are reaching forward to the front of your room, and the back fingers are reaching back to the back of your room. This is a posture in which you can feel yourself radiating in all directions, up and down and side to side. And you're fulfilling that posture with your breath. I want you to take nice, long, deep breaths. so that it's not just a holding posture, but you're actually moving and stretching in all directions. Take another breath. Inhale. And as you exhale, bring your hands in front of your heart. Inhaling here. And as you exhale, step that back foot forward so that your toes touch. Now keep your knees bent. You're sitting as if you're sitting on a little chair. Bring your fingers down. Draw your shoulders back. Now most times in bound chair, we're thinking of it as a strengthening posture. But let's see if we can find some stretch here by using that principle. The shoulders generally want to go forward with the reach of your fingers, but draw your shoulders back in opposition to the reach of your fingers. That's it. Use your breath. Sit bones are moving back. As your knees move down toward the floor, you're finding length through the thighs. Inhaling, exhale right here. As you inhale, draw your hands into your heart. Exhale. Inhale, step back with your other foot. A nice, comfortable step back. Again, the outer part of your foot is rooted into the floor as you feel the inner arch lifting, all 5 toes pressed in. You feel a nice strength through that back leg. Move your knee forward, not beyond the ankle, but just right over your ankle as you soften your toes into the floor. Bring your hands to your hips, feeling your hips nice and square. Find out what your tailbone's doing. Is it too far back or too far forward? Make sure it's dropping down to the floor like a weight is anchored onto your tailbone, helping it to drop down. And you feel the crown of your head moving in the opposite direction. Soften your shoulders down and then raise your arms up so that your fingers reach in 2 different directions. Proud warrior. Stay for 2 breaths. Coaxing the shoulders down. That's beautiful, Suzanne. Inhale. And exhale, bring your hands right in front of your heart. Inhaling here. And as you exhale, bring that back foot up so that the toes touch and the ankles are slightly apart. Bring your fingertips down so that they point down toward the floor. Draw your shoulders back, remember. This is bound chair. It's usually a very tight, constricted posture. But as you use the principle of opposition, see if you can open it up a bit. Going to raise the hands up as you're breathing. Slowly, don't let your shoulders creep forward, but keep them back. You may only be able to go to here with that principle in mind. But if you can go on like Suzanne, her shoulders are pressing down as she's reaching up to the ceiling with her fingers, opening way up. It's nice. Inhale, and as you inhale, come all the way up to standing. And as you exhale, dive down. Your heels move deeper into the floor now as your tailbone and sit bones reach up toward the ceiling, opening up the backs of your legs, stretching, getting the most out of your stretch as you move 2 points away from one another. Let your head drop down. Rise to your fingertips as you inhale. Bend your knees if you need to. And as you exhale, fold down. Lay your belly right against your thighs and let your head release. Open your arms out to the side, feeling your hands reaching to the sides of your room, and draw all the way up to standing. Palms touch. Feet press down as your fingers reach to the ceiling. And as you exhale, bring your hands right in front of your heart. Your head lifts. Your heels press down. Beautiful. Come to sitting right on your mat with your legs open. Now, you can start with your knees bent and open up the flesh away from your sit bones. We're coming to sitting fan. Feel the opposition in your toes. The knees are up. And see if you can feel the sit bones reaching down at the same time that your knees are up. Bring your right hand onto the floor with your elbow onto the floor. And as you inhale, lift your left arm up toward the ceiling. Inhaling here, and as you exhale, you can coax your torso over to your right side. Watch out here. That hip wants to jut up a little bit. See if you can keep it down in opposition to the reaching of your fingers. Those of you that have a greater stretch here, you can send your heels out a little bit more and even place that right hand underneath your left thigh. Inhaling all the way up. And as you exhale, bring that palm down onto the floor. Let's do the other side. Inhaling, the arm goes up, and as you exhale, reach up and over. You notice Suzanne is showing the full expression of the posture. Both heels are reaching in opposite directions with her legs nice and long. You can place that left hand underneath your thigh and begin to twist the spine open even more. Beautiful, Suzanne. If your knees are bent and your torso is almost upright, that's fine. As you inhale, come all the way up to sitting. Bring that hand down as you exhale. Fingertips reach in front of you. Draw your shoulders back as you send your fingertips forward. Inhaling. And as you exhale, walk your hands forward so that your torso moves forward. Tailbone reaching back, the crown of your head moving forward in the opposite direction. If your knees are bent here in sitting fan, that's absolutely fine. Keep working those sit bones down. Come up to sitting. Come to Dandasana with your legs right in front of you. You want the balls of your feet touching, the little toes of your feet drawn back. Open up the flesh away from your sit bones so that you feel your sit bones rooted into the floor. Pressing through the balls of your feet and through your heels, and in opposition, move your tailbone back. Bring your palms next to your hips, soften your shoulders down, feel your breastbone lifting in the pressure against the pressure down of your palms, shoulders dropping. Tailbone rooting into the floor and the crown of your head lifting toward your ceiling. Inhale here, and as you exhale, walk your hands forward into forward bending. Now if you need to, you can bend your knees. As you lay your belly right against your thighs. Feel your tailbone reaching back and the crown of your head moving forward. 2 points moving away from one another. Use your breath. As you inhale, come all the way up and bring your heels into your groin, one heel in front of the next. Let the backs of your hands rest on your knees with your thumbs touching your forefingers. Soften your muscles. Let the principle work through your body. Feel your breath. Now, we've been working on the principle of opposition, 2 points moving away from one another so that you can get the most out of your stretching. You know the principle now. I want you to take that principle into every yoga class that you attend to deepen your own practice. Thank you for practicing with us at Yoga Zone. If you need more information, log on to the website. My name is Douglas. Join us again at Yoga Zone.